So you're thinking about moving to Jacksonville. Well, then this is the video for you, because we are in one of Jacksonville's hottest and newest communities, checking out this amazing floor plan right behind us that has an amazing feature that you're not going to believe. So with that being said, let's check that out now and discuss just why a home like this could be in your future. All right, let's go ahead and get this walkthrough started of this amazing, honestly, brand new model home here in Jacksonville. So the first thing you're gonna see when we come up, obviously we have those pavered driveways or pavered walkways like you see a lot of the other model homes. Definitely one of those things that if it's something that you want, you can do. And something that's important to always determine, do you do it at the beginning when you're buying the house or do it after the fact? Another thing too, as you'll see here, we have a nice front porch as we come in to the rest of our house. And the front porch is amazing because when you're living here in Jacksonville, it's all about, having, areas to entertain outside, areas to be outside. So when we first come into this beautiful home, first thing you're gonna notice, we have a really tall ceiling right away. So I love when builders do this when they give you that 20-foot ceiling, or roughly around 20 foot, where they open the second floor to the first floor because of the fact that it really does make the place feel more grand, makes it feel more open, but also still gives it that high-end, feel that you would want and come to expect when living here in Jacksonville. Now we have our stairwell up here. We also have most of our downstairs, living, dining, kitchen. But before we get to all that, let's go and check out a feature with this home that honestly we barely ever see. I love when builders do this. Honestly, it's an amazing feature. So here in the house, at the front of the house, we have what's considered a next-gen living area. So what does next-gen mean? Well, next-gen means that if you're watching this and maybe you have a college-age kid that is still, staying with you, and you want them to have their own space, or you have a mother or a father or parents who are maybe a little bit elderly and they want to live with you as well. Well, here's their area of the house. So we have our living room, which they don't really have it staged by any means, which is not anything bad, but they don't have it staged currently. They do have just one table here. Down the road, they may stage it. This can be more of your living room, maybe even a dining room space, depending on how you use it. And then you have your kitchen, so to speak, here with your mini fridge. They may even give you an option for a full-size fridge. So again, if you want to know just what all you can do and change with a floor plan like this with this builder, reach out to me so we can go over all of that in detail. That way we can figure out what fits your family's wants and needs. And then obviously we do have the cabinetry here, all soft close cabinetry. And then this is gonna be your door to your one-car garage. Now, a cool feature I was discussing with the builder before this was you can actually make that a two-car garage too. So you have some options there. You can either leave it as a one, or you can make it a two, depending on what fits your family's needs. So it's an amazing thing that you have those options. Then we come into our mini master, so to speak, or mini primary. Let me rephrase that, mini primary bedroom. So this primary bedroom, as you can see here, we have a nice, good size, queen size bed. We do have end tables with it. We also have our dresser here. And I love what the builder did with doing the two-tone for the walls. So we have our darker color up top. We have more of that wood feature down below that they painted white. So it really does give you, it really breaks up the walls and makes it feel bigger, in my opinion. And again, very luxurious. So that's something that you're gonna notice about this video is so much about this house just feels so luxurious. Then we have our walk-in closet, which again, you would expect for a mini primary. So really good size there. And that brings us next to our mini primary bathroom. So again, they really do think about these things and I love when they do. But the builder on this, they did actually make this a walk-in shower, which again, you may ask yourself, well, okay, what's so big about that? Well, if you have someone who's older that's gonna be staying with you and they can't get into and out of a tub, it just makes so much more sense to have this seamless glass, one step down. You could probably do a handrail there if you wanted to make it nice and convenient for your family member to be able to get in and out without any hassle or anything to worry about for falling or whatnot. And then to finish it off with a nice vanity as well. So overall, that's one of those things that I do love seeing with builders when they, incorporate a multi-generational aspect or next gen aspect into the house. Because again, you don't see it very often. There's very minimal floor plans that allow it. But in today's world where, family is becoming more and more closer, especially after COVID, a layout like this makes so much sense. So let's now check out that living space that I was already highlighting earlier. All right, so with this living, dining, kitchen area, one thing you're gonna see as we come out here is, and you may have already seen it, but this is what I love about this space, is that they design it in a way where it's so open that if you're hosting, if you're entertaining people, again, everyone feels like they're all incorporated to each other, but you also do have some distinctions with the space, so it doesn't feel like it's too open either. We used to go with the mindset of everything needs to be as open as possible, open concept, get rid of all the walls. Well, now we're starting to get some walls back, which I think is a good thing, but we don't necessarily need to go all the way back to how it used to be where you have too many walls. So first thing you're gonna see here is we do have the dining room here. Nice ceiling. They did a little bit of a wood inlay in the ceiling just to kind of give it some more tone. They painted the ceiling, so I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think about the way they did that with the paint? They matched it with the accent walls, made it more of an accent ceiling. I personally love that, and I think that that's something that you really have to consider because it does make the home feel just that much more elegant. But overall, great dining room space across the board. You get recessed lighting, so can't go wrong with it. Now, as far as this living room, as you can see, like now it's opened up on us. We have our living room, we have our kitchen, everything's wide open here. I will say, I love the fact that they did these hardwood floors. And one thing you're gonna notice, and you may, if you've seen some of our other videos, you've noticed it across the board, but the builders are starting to go back to more of those lighter colored wood floors. Again, gone are the days of the grays, and we're now back to those more wood, lighter colored wood accent colors for the flooring. So I personally love that. Makes the space feel lighter, makes it feel brighter, makes it feel warmer, and so I love seeing stuff like that. With the ceiling here in the living room, as you can see, we do have some beautiful wood beams. Again, they kind of matched it with the wood floors, maybe a slightly different tone of brown, but overall still very close across the board. And I do love the wood beams because, again, it adds, sometimes I use a lot of the same words, but it's just to really prove that point. It adds a lot more texture to the living room. Really does just break up the ceiling, so to speak, gives it a great feel across the board. And with this living room too, as you'll notice, we do have this beautiful built-in entertainment studio console. Obviously, they're gonna mount a TV at some point in here, but really refined. The fact that they did the wood inlay behind it for the wall, it really sets off a nice contrasting tone with the cabinetry. The cabinetry, you still do have all soft close as well. So it really does just provide, again, that elegance, that luxuriousness that just matches the rest of the house. So the builder, honestly did an amazing job with how they design that. And again, that's one of those things that if you want to know just what doing something like that would cost, is it a standard? Is it an option, structural option that you could do with the builder, at a standard cost, or do you want to do something completely different with it? Because you could, you could match that, you could change it, whatever the case may be. But if you want to know more about that, definitely reach out to me so we can discuss that as well. Then we get to our kitchen. So the kitchen, what more can I say? The kitchen is a great size, has a great flow to it. The color choices all just go so well with the rest of the house. And I love the fact that they did this, really thick countertop. This is your, quartz countertops. Typically you'll see about half this depth as far as the depth of it. And whenever you go with this thicker quartz, it just really gives it, again, that high-end feel that just matches the rest of the house. And along with it, we also get our massive fridge. So I say massive, we don't see many fridges like this. You have the fridge on one side, you have the freezer on the other side. Really across the board, what more could you want? Again, talking about something that's unique, something that you don't see very often, well, this is something that you could do with your house. You really could, to be able to, show it off, to be able to be with a large family, be able to host those large gatherings. So I do love to see that as well. We do also have our microwave down here. So we are starting to see that more often where the builders are putting the microwaves down below. Honestly, I do like that. This is actually a really great size microwave as well. Plenty of room in there. By doing it like that, it tucks it out of the way, really makes it more efficient of a space for your kitchen when it's away like that. And then over here, we do also have our pantry. So as you can see here, great size pantry. Really all the space you really need. You know, it's one of those things. They also finished it off with a pocket door. There we go. So they did finish off with the pocket door. Realistically, just great across the board with how they designed that. And right next to it is actually our laundry room. So the laundry room here, again, if you didn't think you had enough space in the kitchen for your fridge, well, here they actually did it where you have another fridge, typically your normal size fridge, to be able to, again, if you're hosting, if you have a large family, to have all the space you need to be able to have everything you need in the house. They also did finish it off with a sink in here as well to go next to your washer dryer. So realistically, just well thought out, really what people nowadays tend to gravitate towards. So love when the builders do this. And they did finish it off with a tile backsplash. So again, you know, really good across the board there. And you may notice too throughout this video that we do have some blue tape throughout the home. You know, this home is currently going through their blue tape walk. You know, blue tape walk is something that you as a buyer, when you go to the builder, always will have the ability to do. And it's kind of your last, not your last, but you know, it's a chance to be able to, you know, let the builder know, hey, we think that these need touch-ups, or hey, we think that something needs to be changed with it. And typically that's when they'll go in and they'll fine tune it, make it fully ready to go. So that way when you move in, you can just fully enjoy your brand new house. Now over here is actually their sales center, but this is what will typically be your 2-car garage, just for reference. And they do give us a little sitting area here to be able to drop off our shoes, our bags, for the mudroom next to the 2-car garage. Now back to the kitchen, because we have not finished there, by the way. The kitchen, as you'll notice here too, we do have our beautiful oven stove combo. This stove does vent out with this nice hood. And again, another thing I absolutely love, right here. For those who don't know watching this video, for those who do, obviously you know how important that is. But for those of you who don't know watching this video, this is what they call a pot filler. You know, this allows you to, again, just fill up your pots with hot water. So you're not doing it at the sink, you're doing it right at the stove. Hot water, cold water, whatever the case may be. And it's one of those things that if you like to cook, you will love having something like this. And it's one of those items that we always tell buyers when they are thinking about buying new construction. That's one of those you have to figure out. If you want that, you probably want to do it with the builder. So if you want to know things that you should do with the builder and maybe things that maybe make sense to you afterwards without the builder, reach out to me so we can go over that as well. Then here we do have our nice oversized farm sink. Again, I do like the look that they did here. It's a little more boxy, a little more square than some of the other ones. And again, just has a good flow out to our living room. So again, everything's just nice and open. And you'll notice too, the last thing I do want to point out, they did do 2-tone cabinets. So you have white cabinets on this back wall. The rest of them are more of maybe a grayish green. You know, I can't put the exact name on it. But again, really finished off very well with also the 2-tone hardware to kind of offset the specific kind of cabinets that are chosen for each space. And then we have our little breakfast nook area. So again, you think, okay, I got my dining room, like I'm good there, you know, but what am I gonna do for when I don't have large gatherings? Well, you have your little breakfast nook area over here, almost like a mini dining room, which as you can see, gives you a beautiful view of your backyard, but as you can also see, it's a great size space. So again, this is a 6-seater table. You could probably go to an 8-seater if you needed to or had to. So again, it just does bring up a good point that if you're trying to host large gatherings, you got plenty of room for that between the dining room, and then we'll call it like the mini dining room, you know, breakfast nook area. And then we get to our built-in office. So this office is just off the back of the house. They designed it in a way to where, again, they continue those quartz countertops. They continue the same cabinets that we saw in the kitchen. They even did some open cabinetry in the middle for a design element. And they even did a tile backsplash up to the ceiling. So one of those things that, you know, if you're gonna do it, you might as well overdo it, right? And this is a beautiful, beautiful area. You know, so again, if you are watching this and you work from home, or you wanna be able to have an ability to work from home for certain days, or on the weekend, this is a great spot for you to be able to do that. You most likely could also put some French doors in here or a single door if you wanted to close it off from the rest of the house. But overall, just really great layout the way they did it here. And as you'll notice throughout this video, they have plantation shutters throughout, which I personally, as someone who's born and raised here in Jacksonville, I love it when homes have plantation shutters. Something that I always suggest to at least see what the cost is with a builder if they even give it as an option. Then lastly, before we get to that amazing primary that you're not going to miss, is the cabana bath. So this cabana bath, sometimes you think, okay, you know, it's one of those things that you have, but you don't always put a lot of effort into as far as making it look as amazing as the rest of the house. Well, in this case, they really overdid it with this cabana bath in a good way. So with this bath, we do have a nice oversized sink for the single vanity. They actually did do a little bit of a custom work with the backsplash, which is a quartz backsplash to match the quartz countertop. And then if we come in here, you'll notice too, obviously our door out to our beautiful pool area, but they give us a full-size shower here as well. Again, with that seamless glass. And one thing I hadn't highlighted yet, but I do want to bring up now, is they went up to the ceiling with this tile. So again, one of those things that you may not always think about, but for me as a realtor, I can tell you that having the tile up to the ceiling is huge because it finishes the look of it. It gives it a more complete look. It makes it look more clean, more upgraded, a higher end feel to it. And anytime you can remove some of that drywall, it's always a big bonus to ensure that none of it gets wet, because tile will always do better with water than drywall will. They even give us a little toiletry area there for our soaps and shampoos as well. So with that being said, let's go and check out that amazing primary next. So with this primary, as we walk up to it, one thing I will tell you that I love about it is they put it in the back of the house. So again, you're not gonna ever hear any road noise, even if most of these neighbors are not gonna hear anything anyways, because believe it or not, this is actually gonna be a gated community that we're in today. But having the back, it just gives you more privacy. You're not necessarily hearing anything from the road or the sidewalk. And again, with it being the back, well, guess what's in the back? The pool. So it gives you direct access to the pool, as you will see in just a moment. So we are now in the primary bedroom. It is right off of our living room. And to start off, just look at this space. It's a large space. One thing I absolutely love, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but one thing I love is that they actually did a tray ceiling in here. Now a tray ceiling is when the builder actually does that second kind of foot higher on the inside. That's what I can put it, but they increase the ceiling height in the middle of the room, which makes the room feel bigger. So it's one of those things that the room's already a great size as it is, as you can see, but to add another foot of ceiling height makes a huge difference, because it also allows them to do those wood beams to, again, add more of a texture to the space, add more of a feel to it that gives it that luxurious high-end feel. Then you'll see here too, we have a nice, beautiful wall of windows back here. We have some other windows on the side of the house as well. So this is a space that gets tons and tons of natural light. And again, they did finish it off with those plantation shutters I absolutely adore, as you already know. And then the last part back here is, as I mentioned, you do have your door. So your private entrance to your backyard, to your oasis, which we will get to shortly. So you're not going to miss that either. But again, this is one of those things that, when it comes to figuring out what floor plan makes the most sense for your family, I know most of these floor plans here. If I don't, I know which builders to go to find a floor plan that fits what your family needs. So when you are looking to buy a home, you gotta reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me, put time on my calendar. I'm always here to help answer any questions you have to figure out which home, which neighborhood, which builder makes the most sense for you and your family. Now we get to our primary bathroom. So this primary bathroom, again, I know I say it a lot, but the elegance in this bathroom, it really just does pop out at you. Part of it is the color choices they use, part of it's the finishes they did, like the thicker quartz countertops here. But overall, it really does give us that high-end feel that you would expect to get for a home of this price. And again, if you wanna know what the price of this home is, just gotta be patient, we'll get there. But overall, I do love the fact that they separate the vanities, so you have a true his and hers vanity. You also have this massive oversized tub. So again, it's gonna fit most people. If you're just gonna use this for your kids, plenty of space, almost too much space. if this is for you and your significant other, you got plenty of space there as well. So overall, great way they did that. We are starting to see, not starting to, but we've seen for a while now that these standalone tubs are becoming super, more and more popular. But then we also have our shower on the side over here. And the shower here, I do love a couple aspects they did here that I want to just quickly highlight. One of which is, again, the tile up to the ceiling, but it's a two-tone tile. So you have more of an accent wall tile separate from your side walls. And with this accent wall, they actually continued it for the floor just to kind of finish the look of it. And then they did give us a couple areas for our toiletries, for our soaps or shampoos. And then you also do have the rain head, which I absolutely love, along with two other shower heads. So again, they say, 2 heads is better than 1. Well, what about 3 heads? I'd say 3 heads is definitely better than 1. That's just me. Love to know your thoughts as well. But overall, great size shower. I actually like how it's tucked in there because of the fact that it does give you more privacy. Some of these showers we go through, it just feels like you're just showing off to the world, so to speak. So having it tucked in like that, it's a nice aspect. And actually, we'll hold off on that one. We'll do this closet first. But that's the next part too that I like, is they tucked away these closets as well. So you truly have a his and hers closet. So the first closet here is going to be maybe more the hers, but they both could honestly be hers or both his. It just depends on who has the more clothing. But as you can see here, they did do some custom cabinetry in here, some custom closets. So we really do have quite a bit of space here. You even have some over here. All the pullouts are soft close, which is nice. It does not connect, but you probably could connect the 2 closets if you absolutely needed to. And this one even has a little bit of a tucked in area here into the stairwell. So again, for luggage, for bags, stuff like that, great space to be able to tuck those away, as well for this specific closet. Then we have our other closet, over on this side. And so this closet, and before I even get to this, one thing I do want to highlight, we do still have a linen closet here as well. So plenty of storage space in this house. But this closet, this is also a really great size. We do have the custom closets throughout, even a little bit of the sitting areas. So again, you get home for the day, you want to take your shoes off here. If you don't do it at the door, in the mud room, then you take your shoes off here, you can put them on. And there is a little bit of a kick in here as well. So realistically, plenty of space across the board. It really doesn't matter who you are. Like, this is a very good size space when we have 2 of these in this floor plan. So yeah, I mean, that is something that I absolutely love to see. It's one of those things that you can never have too much storage space for homes here in Jacksonville. So just one of those things that I love when builders do that. So next thing we're gonna do though is we're gonna go upstairs, and then I promise you we will get to that beautiful backyard as well. So let's go upstairs now. All right, so up here, first thing you're gonna notice, obviously you already saw that beautiful stairwell coming up. I do love the fact that they did do the open railing. That's one of those things that it just always makes more sense. If you wanna do it with the builder. Don't do it after the fact. I mean, you can, but it's gonna be more of a mess. From experience, I can tell you that. But I love the fact they actually give us this little area up in the front, almost like a game room or like a little work area for the kids, that overlooks downstairs for them to be able to do their homework in or whatnot. And after they get done with their homework, then they can have fun in the game room. So this loft up here, you can make a game room. It could be a space for them to be able to entertain their friends. Again, the downstairs space could be for you and you and the adults. The upstairs space could be here for the kids. So again, it gives you some different options there, but really good size space. As you can see, we have recessed lighting throughout. One minor thing that sometimes gets overlooked, but they also give us plenty of air vents up here just to keep the space nice and cool for you and your guests. So as we continue to come through, we do have a handful of bedrooms and bathrooms up here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with this first bedroom, which this bedroom, as you'll notice as we come in, has some similarities with the last 2 bedrooms. Keep in mind, this is only our 3rd bedroom. So as we come in, you're going to notice first and foremost, we do have a really good size bedroom itself, queen size bed, end tables, nice dresser, plenty of space here. We do have our windows to be able to provide natural light. And you will notice the ceiling height here has gone down a little bit, probably a couple feet, most likely 12 foot downstairs, probably 10 foot upstairs, maybe 9. Sometimes I'm a little directionally challenged when it comes to heights. But then you'll also notice here we do have our walk-in closet. So again, 3rd bedroom, 3rd walk-in closet. And this is where the similarity really kicks in. So here we have a full bathroom. So a 3rd walk-in shower, single vanity here as well. They continued the countertops and cabinets to match the others. And again, just a really great size space. So it's almost like a 3rd mini primary. So it's one of those things that I love to see that kind of stuff, because in a home at this price point, it just makes sense for almost every bedroom to have its own bathroom. Then we continue forward to our 3rd bathroom, or let me rephrase that, our 5th bathroom. You heard me right, this is a 5-bathroom floor plan. But here we have a double vanity. Eventually we'll have some mirrors here as well. And with this one too, they still did the soft close, which is a beautiful touch. A little different design with the cabinets, a little different color choice, a little bit of a darker brown. And then we do have it separated for our shower tub combo here, because again, you always need to have at least one tub in your home. Typically, you want to always have one upstairs, and you may want to have one downstairs too. So if you want to know why that's the case, reach out to me, and I'll definitely give you the dirty details on that as far as why you want to make sure that you always keep at least one tub in a house. But overall, good sized bathroom. This is going to feed into our last 2 bedrooms here. Because again, not every bedroom's gonna have a bathroom, but as you can see here, this bedroom designed more as maybe like a boys' room, but really good size again. I love the accent wall they did here. They're continuing the same kind of color theme. We do have the end tables. We do also have a queen size bed. So again, every bedroom so far has had at least a queen size, if not bigger. They even have a little bit of an area here to be able to sit down and put your shoes on. We do have a dresser here too. And then this one as well has a walk-in closet. So again, you can't go wrong with every bedroom having a walk-in closet. At least in my opinion, you can't. And another thing too, I just want to bring up, they did do a craftsman finish with their framing for all their doorways. If you want to know why the craftsman finish is such a high-end feature, why sometimes it may actually be more of an upgrade than you would expect, reach out to me and I'll explain that as far as why that's the case. We also have a linen closet there, which is pretty obvious. And then we have our last bedroom here. So this bedroom as well, great size. That's a continuing thing with this floor plan. We do have a single window for some natural light, still get the plantation shutters, queen size bed, end tables, dresser. You've heard the whole shebang 3-4 times now. But overall, it is a great size space up here. Really does give us quite a bit to work with. So if you're watching this, you have a small family or a big family, and forgot to mention, does have another walk-in closet. Again, if I took a shot for every time I said walk-in closet, be a long day. Joking. But overall, it does bring a good point that if you have a small family or if you have a big family, either way, you ultimately do have plenty of space for your family in this house. Again, to have 5 bedrooms, 5 full bathrooms, you even have additional spaces outside of that. It's a great feel. It's a great feeling to be able to have that. And it really does allow you to be able to put everything you want into an amazing house like this, including that backyard. So let's go now check out the backyard of this house, because you're not going to want to miss that either. So let's check it out now. All right, saving the best for last, we have our backyard here, which honestly, again, it's a great size space. I love everything about how they designed this. And to begin with, let's go ahead and focus on what's covered under the same roof line. So here we have our back porch. It is under the same roof line. You have that ability, you can screen it in. In this case, they did it with the pool, but you could have done it without the pool. And the thing I want to highlight most about this here is you may wonder, okay, why do we have this insert here, right? Well, that insert here, that's to allow the sliding glass doors to open all the way and get tucked in away from, standing out in the living room. So it allows you to fully open your indoor-outdoor space to each other, which is a huge bonus that you don't always get with all builders or with all floor plans. So that is something that, again, if you like to entertain, you're gonna want that. And if you're gonna want that and you wanna be in this area, reach out to me so I can let you know which builder this is, so that way you know exactly who to go to get something just like that with your home. Because because this builder is a semi-custom builder. They'll do pretty much whatever you want for cost, as long as you stay within the confines of their floor plan and their locations. Then over here, we still have it covered underneath the same roof line, and we have more like an eat-in, like outdoor dining space. Again, covered underneath the same roof, so if it's raining, you're good. And it's gonna bring us next to that single door out to our cabana bath that we highlighted earlier in this video. And then next to it, you're also gonna notice these hookups here. We have electric, we have gas, we have water. The reason we have all those things is because if you wanna have a gas grill, check. If you wanna have an electric grill for any sort of reason or some sort of electric appliances, you have that, check. If you wanna have a sink to be able to clean off dishes outside, you got that, check. So it has all of those things. Another cool thing too that they did here, and I say cool, it's not something that's super important because not every home's gonna have this kind of elevation, but with this backyard, you will notice they actually built it up. And the reason they built it up is because they obviously did the pool back here, but by building it up, it gives you a lot more usable space. And because it's built up and the way that this home's designed with this beautiful preserve behind us, it doesn't have much upkeep. So this is very much a zero-scape kind of backyard, which really is one of those situations where when you're living here in Jacksonville, when you're living here in Florida, a zero-scape backyard is not a bad thing, so you can actually enjoy your house, enjoy your pool, and not have to worry about the upkeep of having to mow it and edge and weed whack it every day or every week. So I personally actually love that aspect about this house. Then as we continue to move forward, as you can see here, we have our amazing pool. This pool could be yours, and you'll understand what I mean by that later on in this video. But this pool, it's very sleek, it's very elegant. It doesn't have anything crazy going on like some of these other pools you may see in some of our other videos, but it's all you need. You know, sometimes we overdo things, we don't have to, but this one, it really does give you everything, and it still gives you a great ambiance. You know, you saw those water features there to be able to provide some natural sound proofing, so to speak, for your backyard. And again, how can you not like this view? And having the screened in keeps a lot of the bugs out. So very well thought out by this builder here in Jacksonville. And then we do have our hot tub as well. So the hot tub does feed into the pool. Again, very common that you'll see this with builders where you have the hot tub with the pool combo. Glad that this builder did that. It's great for those times of the year where it's just cold enough to kind of get the hot tub going, but not too cold to where you don't want to be outside in general. So overall, I love to see that. So last thing I haven't mentioned yet, this builder, which I will let you know who it is momentarily, is local to Jacksonville and predominantly builds here in the St. John's portion of Jacksonville that we're in today. So if you want to know more about that builder, more about St. John's, more about Jacksonville in general, we're going to go ahead and go over that right now. All right, so what do you think about this model home? Could you see yourself living here? Me personally, I love the way this is laid out, but I also love what the builder did with the design elements for this amazing floor plan. But here's the thing. This floor plan, this model home, where this builder is located is in St. Johns County here in Jacksonville, Florida. It is the premier place to be right now. And it's really where everyone that's living in Jacksonville or everyone who's thinking about moving to Jacksonville typically prefers to look in and move to the St. John's area. Now, overall, we're actually here in Silverleaf today, one of the newest master plan communities here in Jacksonville. And the thing about it is the reason why people love this area so much, we are so convenient to so many things here. So whether if you want to go to the beach, you want to go to the zoo, you want to go to a sporting event, or you may just want to go to St. Augustine for the day, you are within 30, 40 minutes of all those things at any given time. But even though those may feel kind of far away from you, but here's the thing. If you just want to go shopping, if you wanted to go get a bite to eat somewhere, go to the grocery store, that's the cool part too, is that's all within 10 minutes of here. You have Durham Pavilion, maybe 15 minutes tops, where you have a lot of major shopping. It really has become one of the bigger town centers for St. Johns County. Again, that's just a straight shot up, and you're there in no time at all from here in Silverleaf. Or again, if you want to go to restaurants or grocery stores, Silverleaf actually has a handful of restaurants and they're adding more and more every day. And they also have a Publix that they have recently begun adding. So again, you have everything that you need right down the street from you. So that is really why people love this area, and why people choose to move to this area, is because everything is so convenient. Now here's the thing too about Jacksonville. We're only a couple hours away from Savannah, a couple hours away from Orlando, 4 hours or so away from Tampa, 4 to 5 from Miami, 5 to 6 from Atlanta. So even though I mentioned that a lot in our videos, I mention it because it's so important to know that you have all these other major cities that are not that far away from you, drive time wise, to be able to go visit on the weekend or make a trip out of, while still making Jacksonville, Florida your home base. Now, I'm sure you really do want to know though who the builder is on this, where we're located today here in Silverleaf, as well as what's the specs on this house and the price, and hey, Justin, are there any incentives? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and answer that for you right now. So we are here in the Hidden Creek community, which by the way, reach out to me if you want all the details on Hidden Creek. And we are located here in this model with Mastercraft Homes. Mastercraft Homes is a local builder to Jacksonville, Florida, and they only build here in St. Johns County currently, with their goal to really only be here in St. Johns. So you truly do get a custom builder. Again, they are semi-custom by design for a very amazing price, because most custom builds here in the area are typically going to run you $2 to $3 million, if not more, unless you're going to be further out in the countryside. So again, it's something to take into account when you're thinking about moving here to Jacksonville. But overall, Mastercraft does an amazing job with their finishes. As you saw today, they are wrapping up and finishing up their final elements on this model home. Because again, if you're watching this video, you are probably getting the first look at this model home at this point in time as the video is out there. But it is such an amazing model for multiple reasons. The next gen, the split floor plan, the open floor plan, the beautiful large kitchen, that it does make it one of their more desirable floor plans, because they actually have another model built just like this for another one of their communities here, which we have filmed as well. But for this one, this is actually a 5-bedroom floor plan. It's a 5 full bathroom floor plan. They do have this in a 4.5 bath version or a 4-bedroom version, so you do have some options there. They build these on their 70-foot wide lots and their 80-foot wide lots, so you have options there as well. And as far as the garages, you can do a 3-car or you can do a 4-car. And the square footage, the square footage does depend on how you configure the house. But currently, right here on their sheet, I can tell you that currently their square footage ranges from 3,996 square feet, so just under 4,000, all the way up to 4,186, so about 4,200 square feet. So you do have some room there to play with, depending on how you want to lay out this floor plan. Now, as far as for the name of this floor plan, this is the Casey floor plan. Believe it or not, Mastercraft develops their floor plan names based off of their employees' kids' names. So the Casey floor plan comes from one of their employees who had a kid named Casey, which may seem kind of, okay, Justin, why are you bringing this up? But I love that because I'm big about family. And so it's really cool how they incorporate family into their floor plan names for their, home sites. And then lastly, what you've all been waiting for, the price. So this will kind of dictate based off of the size of lot you choose. But to be on the safe side, the best way to put it is you're anywhere from just over $1 million to $1.2 million, depending on how you configure the house, as well as if it's on a 70-foot wide lot or an 80-foot wide lot. So, realistically speaking, with design center options, with lot, your lot price as well, a house just like this will probably run you anywhere from 1.5 and up, depending on finishes and other features that you choose for your house. Now, one of those finishes that they're actually doing right this second, and keep in mind, the price and what I'm about to tell you, they're always subject to change, so they're constantly changing. So what it is today could be different tomorrow, which is again why you need to reach out to me. But right now, the incentive they're giving you is you can either take $60,000 to use towards your design center options, or even better, see this pool behind me? You may not get this exact pool, but they are giving a free pool when you build with them on any of their home sites here in the Silverleaf neighborhood of Hidden Creek. So with that being said, reach out to me if you want to know more about this builder, this neighborhood, or Silverleaf as a whole. And you will notice at the end of this video, there will be some links to some of the other amazing floor plans that we've done here in Jacksonville, Florida. But always feel free to reach out to me, and I'll see you guys again next time.